Cześć, mam na imię Fajez, jestem Syryjczykiem, ale mieszkam w Zjednoczonych Emiratach Arabskich. Mam 24 lat i uczyłem się polskiego przez około 3 miesiące. Jestem na A2 poziomie i planuję osiągnąć przynajmniej na B1 poziom przed grudniem i na B2 poziom przed marcem. Ten video będzie po angielsku, ale chciałem, żeby występ był po polsku, dodać trochę smaku. Okay, it's time for me to stop embarrassing myself in Polish and start speaking in a language that I can actually speak. So that being said, it's English from here onwards. So, as I said in the video, in the intro, sorry, I've been studying Polish for about 3 months, around the end of April and at the start of May is around more or less the time I started studying. And thankfully, I thought of it quite early in my learning journey. And I decided to, back then, record every single hour invested into studying the language. So I have a lot of info that some other learners may not have access to. Like, for example, the amount of time it took me to reach certain level. When was I able to start like comfortably, perhaps making simpler sentences, etc., etc. Because I recorded everything between the time invested into learning vocabs and memorizing vocabs through sheer usage of a flashcard app, and the amount of time invested into learning the language through grammar and applying what I learned and like sentence making and experimenting with certain constructions, etc., etc. So I can give you a certain estimation. It's not estimation, it's more of a like, it's very, very close to the truth. Though I will say that the methodology of which I record my study time is not 100% perfect. So there's like a couple perhaps hours of difference between what I recorded and what is actually the truth. So the amount of time invested for me into learning the language per day is about 4 hours per day. The average for the about 3 whole months. I didn't actually calculate the average per day yet, but I have a decent understanding of the amount of times I studied per day from back then until now. So the amount of time I invested to study per day back then was about like 3 hours per day, like when I started back in May. Maybe like it's around this number. I don't remember very well, but nowadays I'm studying like, and for the past month or so, I'm studying for at least 4 hours and something. Like nowadays I'm studying like 5-6 hours per day sometimes. So the average for me per day is around the sweet spot of 4 hours. Though I will say I'm planning to like have the accumulated amount of studying per day raised a bit for me to like feel certain amount of satisfaction, for me to see the progress in a much faster manner, because I am quite the impatient person, to say the least. So my experience with learning Polish so far. Back then when I started, I said I was investing like about 2.5 hours, 3 hours per day. Majority, I wouldn't say majority, maybe 65% of the amount of time I invested back then was into vocabs. So I would use the flashcard app that I'm using right now. I'm still using right now for like 1.5 hours to 2 hours per day. This was my average at the start. So and the remaining would be like to grammar and familiarize myself with certain constructions and sentences, etc. And then of course the amount of time invested into grammar and vocabs changed, and the overall amount also increased, maybe decreased a bit for vocabs later on, but yeah, that's the amount of hours I invested per day. You might say that achieving level A2 in about 3 months is not the achievement, is not quite the achievement. I would say maybe for other languages. I'm not a language learner. Like, this is my first time ever like learning a language. Like the 2 languages that I currently speak, I actually acquire at a young age. So I take no credit in learning these languages. So I have no experience like actually studying any languages before. So maybe A2 in other languages is not as impressive as, in my opinion, as Polish is. Polish achieving A2 in like 3 months in Polish is, yeah, I consider it to be quite the big achievement. Though I will say if other people with certain aptitudes, like with better aptitudes to languages in general, would like maybe if they would take a shot at Polish and perhaps study it for such extended periods like I did, perhaps they would be at higher level. Like truth be told, I have zero Polish background at all prior to my studying. To be honest, full disclosure, I did play with Duolingo app, like to experience with constructions for actually quite a long time before I started studying. Though I will say I pretty much benefited nothing from it, like because I would I had a like something 300-day streak before I started like learning the language seriously, but I would like just finish one thing per day or whatever it's called. I don't use Duolingo anymore. It's just so I will make a streak. I was doing it for more for fun, less than like to actually learn and for anything else. So yeah, um, returning to what I said, A2 I consider it such a big achievement, more than other languages, especially since it's rated like to be one of the hardest languages for people to learn, especially for people with like background similar to mine, who have like zero connection to Polish in general. So I would say I'm relatively satisfied with the level I am at right now. Although I acknowledge that I could be at a very much higher level if I was if I had a better aptitude at learning languages in general. So I didn't do the math yet. Investing like 4 hours per day, let's say over 3 months. I don't know how many hours, but I can give you an approximation because at the end of every month, I calculated the amount of hours invested into learning the language. So for the first month, it was around 100 hours. For the second month, it was around 130 something hours. And for the third month, it's still not done. I'm still a bit shy of 3 months. So when it's done, I probably have, I think, around like 350 hours, 360. I have no idea, something like this. And I hope I will be at B1 before the end of, as I said in the intro, before the end of December. That's my current plan. The amount, so like I wanted to make this video, so I will perhaps give a small encouragement, perhaps the last bit of encouragement for people who are trying to learn Polish or like any language really. Uh, in my opinion, studying Polish has been a very fun experience. It's been a blast. Like to say it's fun would be an understatement. And perhaps if you are trying to learn a language or Polish and you don't know where to start, my suggestion is just start, bro. Just start, and like you will figure it out like along the way. Um, Currently, I'm studying like for about three to like at least 3 hours per day. For like I'm dedicating at least 3 hours per day to studying grammar in general, studying grammar and applying sentences and etc. Um, and that is like the more I invest time, the more I want to invest time into learning the language. Like it's actually like it's kind of how do you say it, like progress drugs progress. Like I'm just always more excited the more I to learn the language and study it, the more I invest into studying this so far. And you might ask, how do I know I am at level A2 without actually taking the exam in Poland um to assess myself, to assess at which level I am at actually. Well, truth be told, I'm not 100% sure that I'm actually at A2 level. For all I know, I could be less or more, though I took like all the exams that I can find online, the exams that can be used to assess your level in Polish. Bear in mind, these exams are not perfect. So I would understand if you would doubt the methodology used in these exams to assess one's skills in a language. But like I took so many exams, especially in the past 2 weeks or so, and the average amount of the average level that I got was A2. I even got like B1s in some exams, and I got A1s in certain others. So the approach for certain exams online, it's vastly different, as the assessed level can be like a lot higher or a lot lower than each other, right? So I would assume that I'm at A2, but if you are Polish and you seem to disagree, I wouldn't really blame you. Um, though I will say I'm planning, like I said, I planning to visit to reach level B2 before the end of March. Although that might be quite ambitious. Maybe my plans will change as I study more and I get humbled more by the language. Although my plans will not change regardless. I don't think so, at least. Like if I make it to March and I'm not B2, I will be very, very disappointed in myself. Like but hopefully that's the plan, because actually I'm planning to visit Poland in April. So by the time I reach by the time it's April, I want to be at B2, so I will go there and be able to like communicate in the language. And when I go there, I'm planning also to take a Polish exam, so perhaps I will assess myself for real, and I wouldn't have these doubts at these doubts or about at which level I am actually at in the language. So if you're looking for like a more detailed explanation on the amount of time invested for me to study the language, I will give you like I give it to you like in as short of a manner as humanly possible, or I can like or as short of a manner I can provide. So basically, at the start, I had a plan of building a good foundation of vocabulary. So I would like currently I'm about 3,000 vocabs, or according to the app. Though I would say like a lot of these vocabs that I actually memorized, it takes me like maybe some of them I wouldn't say a lot, just a certain percentage. It takes me quite some time to remember. Like if you told me what does the word closed mean, uh, like I just need to think about it for a couple seconds before I realize it's zamknięte, right? But I will remember it nonetheless. I would say it's the same for like 95%. Like it's very hard for me to not remember a certain word if I squeeze my brain and if I was like mentally present at the time to not remember one of the 3,000 words. By the way, that's why I dialed down the amount of vocabs I'm studying per day, from or the amount of times invested into learning vocabs per day, from like 2 hours in my like second month slash first month to like perhaps 1 hour and a half per day, and I like mainly dedicated nowadays to reviewing vocab more and less into learning new vocabs, because I feel like the more I learn, the more likely it will be harder for me to remember the vocabs that I actually learned, right? So um back into giving you like what I was actually studying, what I was actually doing with my time in these past 3 months. I will give you like broad lines because like getting into the nitty-gritty details, of course, is probably not possible. So I would invest the 70% of my time at the start to learning new vocabs. So because often, especially at the start, in my opinion, this might be the case later on. I'm not sure yet. The biggest bottleneck for learning languages. This is a kind of a piece of information that someone told me, and I found to be true. The more I study the language, the biggest bottleneck that someone can have with the language is the vocab, but that doesn't mean that you should focus on vocab and let grammar stay on the side. So I would invest about 65 to 70% of the amount of time at the start on the first like 2 weeks to study vocabs, to learning vocabs, new vocabs, and reviewing old ones if I had any at the time. And then I would invest perhaps 30% of my time into learning and applying and making sentences, etc. Of course, I have my own resources to study the language, and yeah, I have a resource. It's not like brainless and aimless studying, and I have no teacher. I have a teacher online, but like they are more of a recorded sessions rather than like live face to face. That's why since I'm studying like on a pre-recorded sessions, that's why my speaking ability is very underdeveloped, I would say. Because like if you give me a pen and paper, I'll probably be able to write better sentences that I will ever be able to at my current level to be able to construct without pen and paper, right? So I would invest that much time into studying the language. That was about first 2 weeks, end of April and the start of May. Then from there onwards, I dialed down the amount of studying I was putting per day significantly. So I would add about like half an hour to vocab and also half an hour to grammar. Still, the vocab would be the predominant, the dominant part of my studying, the dominant percentage of my studying, and then later on, past the 1.5/2 months period, I would actually like increase the amount of the time significantly that I invested into studying grammar and decrease the amount of time I invest into learning vocabs, because my vocab base was, in my opinion, really decent, and it was good enough for me to progress in the language without having to struggle with at least like basic level sentences. So I built a good foundation of vocab, and I proceeded to study the grammar like bit by bit. And nowadays I'm investing about like 3 to 4 hours per day into grammar and studying in general, at least 3 hours, and about like 1.5 hours to 2 hours in terms of learning vocab. So at the start, majority of my time, or like most of my time, was invested in vocab, 70%. Then it was 50% vocabs. Then it was like 40%. Then nowadays it's more like at 30%. And I, for my plans in the future, I don't know, they might change in terms of my approach to studying, but I'm still planning to study to increase the amount of time I invest into grammar rather than decrease it. This is my current plan. If you ask me about the immersion, currently I have like no way of immersing myself in the language, and I didn't find any entertainment that I can actually like consistently grasp and understand and be entertained with to use online. Though there are some paid resources, but I don't know if I want to invest money into things that I may not like, especially if they don't have a refund policy, right? But thankfully, I found some people who were willing to perhaps communicate with me in the language for free, and I'm very fortunate to be able to find them, and I'm very thankful for them to be available. But right now, they are not available, though. That's currently my main approach to speaking in the language and like emerging and getting to know the language more. So if you're outside of a certain country, let's say you want to learn Spanish and you're not in a country that speaks Spanish, it's hard for you to find people that will exchange with you in Spanish. Then all you have to do is go on like whatever like community, online learning community of this language, and ask. And more often than not, you will find people more than willing to speak with you without actually without much in return. Like a lot of times, people are just like so nice to teach you the language, or like speak with you, exchange with you. Or you don't need them to teach you. You just need you need them to exchange with you at a level where you can actually understand what they're saying, and them understanding like at least some bits of what you say to correct your mistakes. And this is actually what happened with me exactly. I asked on the subreddit, Learn Polish subreddit, and some people were nice enough for me to. Some people were like very nice to reach out to me, and I'm thankful for it. And I think you should do the same. You should try at least doing the same if you're looking to immerse yourself, especially if you're outside country. That's it for the video. I yapped a lot. I yap a lot in general. But I wanted like to be as clear as possible. Probably you have a lot of questions to ask, and I'll try to answer any questions that you might have for the 5 people that will actually watch. So again, thank you for watching. I don't know if I will make any more videos in the future. Let me know if you want me to. I was like the main purpose of this video was like it's more of to be a help to people who are looking to learn Polish and any language in general, and like to put them into perspective on how to start and how to progress and how to feel and navigate progress, etc. And less of I want to make content or something. Maybe I should make content in the future. I have no idea, but for now I have no plans. at least not before I make it to B1 at least, and start like being able to exchange in the language without embarrassing myself constantly. So that being said, thank you very much for watching and have a good one.